Welcome to History for Dummies. The tension between North Korea and the United States have lasted just over half a century. In this episode, we will be focusing on the North Korean relations with the United States, characterized by nuclear tensions and unsuccessful talks. Korea was a Japanese colony from 1910 through 1945, as Japan lost control over Korea following the end of World War II. Both the United States and the Soviet Union were interested in influencing Korea, so both got involved in the Korean peninsula. The Soviets had power in the north while the United States occupied the south. The communist-controlled power in Pyongyang established the Democratic Republic of Korea, and the Republic of Korea was represented by the south in Seoul. There was tension at the border before the war as each regime was interested in destroying the other and uniting the peninsula. North Korean troops eventually pushed into South Korea on June 25, 1950. The Soviets were not particularly involved. South Korea and the United States battled against North Korea and China. The war lasted for 3 years, and an estimated 3 to 4 million people were killed. 25% of North Korea's pre-war population was killed. No formal treaty was signed following the war. It essentially ended how it started. North Korea was authoritarian and backed by China, and Seoul was democratic and backed by the United States. The American bombings of the North sparked major resentment among the North Korean population. North Korea continues to remind their population of the quote-unquote evil Americans, which are the main enemy of the state. Besides having an extremely powerful military, North Korea has minimal wealth or anything of value, while South Korea is well developed economically and technologically. During the 1950s to the 1990s, life on the Korean peninsula disintegrates. The Korean War destroys almost all of Korea's industry, causing North Korea to fall into poverty. It is at this time that nuclear weapons emerge as a viable weapon in warfare as well. North Korea, like many other countries, joined the International Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, barring the country from producing nuclear weapons. However, later, the International Atomic Energy Agency accuses North Korea of violating the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and demands inspectors be given access to nuclear waste storage sites. North Korea threatens to quit the treaty, thus marking the beginning of nuclear tension. In 2000, many peaceful strides were made to improve communications between the two countries. One of these attempts was Madeleine Albright, the Secretary of State, visiting North Korea, which helped improve relations greatly. In 2001, George Bush became the President of the United States with a more aggressive approach to relations with North Korea. He suspended talks with North Korea and put them on a list called the Axis of Evil, which later angered North Korea. In 2002, Bush worsened relations by suspending fuel oil shipments, which later led to North Korea ordering IAEA inspectors who watch over North Korea's nuclear power plants out of the country. Due to this increase in tension, the agreed framework, which was created during Clinton's term, collapsed. In 2000, the Inter-Korea Summit was held. It resulted in the U.S. easing economic sanctions and allowing trade and investment. It is key to note that North Korea has been sanctioned for more than 2 decades by world powers. The six-party talks began, producing a joint statement where North Korea agreed to give up its nuclear weapons program and rejoin the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The negotiations involved China, the United States, North and South Korea, Japan, and Russia, and were aimed at ending North Korea's nuclear program. The talks were characterized by stop-and-go negotiations as North Korea continued to conduct nuclear tests, leading to talks to go into a stalemate. Talks are stopped in 2009 after North Korea launches 7 ballistic missiles. The U.S. then froze North Korean funds in retaliation. The talks yield little progress in the denuclearization of North Korea. This helped relations between the two countries, however, it was only temporary. Once Obama became president in 2009, North Korea had its first of many failed attempts to put a satellite in space, which caused UN sanctions to tighten, and later in that year, North Korea decided to no longer contribute in the six-party talks. Also in 2009, North Korea held its second nuclear test, and Kim Jong-il died, leaving Kim Jong-un in power. In 2012, North Korea attempted to launch another rocket, and in retaliation, the U.S. halted food aid. Also in 2012, North Korea launched a successful missile which is still in orbit. From 2013 to 2016, North Korea conducted 3 more nuclear tests and its first hydrogen bomb. In 2017, North Korea claimed it launched a successful hydrogen bomb. Last year, at the Olympics, North Korea said it would agree to talk with the U.S. Foreign aid to North Korea has dropped from $117.8 million to $31.8 million over the years 2012 to 2018. One of the most unjust issues in North Korea is that the state controls everything and actively spies on its citizens using a vast surveillance and informer network. People can be arrested for listening, viewing, or reading content provided by international media outlets. An estimated 80,000 to 120,000 people are in North Korean prisons. There aren't really laws. People just have to deal with the will of the government. Recently, an unprecedented meeting between the U.S. and North Korea leadership took place at the first and second U.S.-North Korea summit. On April 20th, 2018, following the visit of Mike Pompeo to North Korea, Kim Jong-un suspended nuclear and missile testing as well as shutting down previous nuclear testing sites, paving the way for the summit to take place. On June 12, 2018, the North Korea and U.S. summit in Singapore marked an unprecedented meeting, opening the door for future negotiations. The second summit took place on February 27, 2019 in Hanoi. The leaders failed to reach an agreement, but the U.S. left the door open for future talks. North Korea, a country living through an impending drought, is weak and continues to fuel anger internationally. Thank you for listening. This was History for Dummies, tension between the United States of America and the People's Republic of North Korea.